All right, perfect. So yeah, quick kind of dive into Konveio to give you a little bit of sense. I want to again try to set the stage here real quick. I'll kind of go over here and just sort of look at some of the common issues we see during public comment issues when it's done the traditional way. So it often starts with, it all ends up in PDF. We all, PDFs are super easy to create. They're a good format to share content online, but it comes with a certain set of issues. And that's what we're trying to address here at Konveio. So the first one is, more often than not, when public review drafts or final documents go out, then there's a long list of documents on a website, in this case, a website here of a government agency or city. And then you have to find your way through that. And if you have specific questions, you would have to figure out which of those 10 PDFs to download and then to navigate. And so if you were lucky to find the right and download the right document, you will be presented with a long scroll, right? So you then start scrolling through the document, trying to figure out which section you need to be looking at and where exactly the information is located that you're interested in, and start reading a lot. And that experience then goes on where, those PDFs contain information, maps, and other elements that tend to be compressed and pixelated. And, you really want to know what's happening on your block, but this gives you no way to zoom in or even to kind of approach this because the labels aren't even visible. And so a lot of the rich content that gets produced throughout projects, whether that's 3D renderings or other kind of important elements, tend to then get lost in PDFs. And to make things worse, the feedback, when you I should have mentioned this, like there was a part of the first slide I showed here that said, well, if you have any feedback, just send us an email. So then you start drafting an email. And what happens is it's going to be multiple pages long and meandering from one thing to the next and very broad. And somebody has to unfortunately then go through this and figure out which of these paragraphs relate to, what they relate to, try to go back in the document, try to figure out what page they relate to, what elements of that plan they relate to. So it's a very tedious and time-consuming process that then ends up with everything getting pasted into an Excel spreadsheet. So there's manual labor again tied to copying, pasting things over, tracking line numbers, page numbers, or even worse, putting this in front of your stakeholders and having them fill it out themselves. And so it's just a very clunky, not very user-friendly kind of process traditionally. And so, it kind of highlights, like, one of the core problem statements that we try to solve is like, well, the great work, the insights and key aspects of the important work that we all, or you all do, gets lost in documents.